Hello and welcome to another Geometry Dash building episode. In the last episode, we did a little bit of cleanup and I added your suggestions into the build. I did a little bit of extra cleanup off camera, the main one being I removed the chromatic from the level and just tweaked the colors a little bit so it looks a lot more realistic. The chromatic was making it feel a little too, blurred, but everything now looks really crisp and clean and I think I enjoyed that a lot better. The other thing I did off camera were these flags. Now, I made a post on the community tab, which I did get some responses on, but I also asked through a couple of Discord servers, and what I found was I created these kind of designs. People really liked these two shields. Most people liked this one right here. People also generally liked every single one of these designs, but I found that this one in particular people really enjoyed. So then I turned it into these concepts with the shields and everything, and again asked on Discord servers and stuff. People found that this one right here they enjoyed the most out of all of these, and so I've kind of transformed it into a full set. So for a long time I've been wanting to change this flag that I put here. I don't know, in like the second or third episode I think. It's been there months and it looks like crap. So I'm going to replace that with this, and I'm going to add these sort of flags all throughout the build we've already done and going through into the new section, because I really want it to have a cohesive feel to it where it's like one kingdom. But if you guys have any suggestions for how I should do it and if I should change the colors or anything, people generally like the red, so I might stick with the red, but if you think I should change the design, fix up a few things, please let me know. Leave your comments down below and I will make sure to look at every single one and take your feedback into consideration. But for today's episode, I built this a couple of weeks ago now, and I think it's finally time we start to detail up everything in here. If I put a start trigger just before it, I want there to be a staircase up to this bit, and this is like a middle ground, and then I'll have a foreground in front of it. I'll also clean up the stained glass in the background. You'll also notice that the background kind of moved down a little bit. For some reason it's glitched. If I put a start pause in, it looks completely normal if I start it from the start of the level. So with all that out of the way, I think it's time we get started. The first thing I really want to do is move all of this to another layer because it's currently blocking the stairwell that we've got over here. Because what happened was when I put in all of these kind of moved from left to right. And so what's happening is it's covering up this whole beginning section. All right, now that's all been added to a new layer, I can go into another new layer and begin the mid-ground. It's just a bit tricky figuring out which layer goes where because there's so many different layers everywhere. I think 6 will be our kind of mid-ground. So what I'll do, I'll take the staircase we created before, take this down to layer 6. Now I've lined it up. Now I've got to sort out the layering on this. What I'll also do is I'll make this a lighter color. That way it will stand out against everything else. Maybe not that light. That's a bit better. It stands out a little bit, but not too much because I don't want it to stand out too much. Now I can hide all this. Now let's see how that looks. Ooh, it's laid a bit strangely. Oh, it's going above this. Whoopsie. Now everything should be laid correctly. You go up, and then I can have stuff in the foreground. What I'll do is I'm going to put everything in group 171, because what I've done is I've set up, there's a trigger called Link Invisible. So I only learnt this recently. If you use this trigger Link Invisible, what it does is it makes sure that every object that's part of that group is always visible. And that's great because that means I can have larger objects that usually flip it in and out of existence, and I can have them exist without flipping in and out of existence. So if I do that, then none of this will just like hop or anything, and I think that's great. But what I do have to think about is what I'm doing for these kind of top things. I'm thinking one of them should be like a chandelier, or maybe two of them should be chandeliers. Because I believe what Castle Mania does is it has kind of little wooden juts and other kind of structures coming down. So what I might do is have this as like a wooden structure, and this is a wooden structure, and then this is like a chandelier. I think that might be the best way to go about it. So here's a piece I grabbed from earlier in the level. So now I really got to think about block design. So I have something that's kind of tiled like that. How does that look? I might do what I did earlier in the level and have all the pieces you actually go on have little kind of white tops to them. Because what I did with these is I set these to a lower opacity. Yeah, I set the ones that are kind of on top of the wood as a lower opacity. And I think I might do that for everything that's here. These kind of block pieces are usually what I use when making my layout, but I think I'm going to switch them out. And of course, just my luck, it barely does not line up. There we go, something like that. I'm not sure if I should go the smaller pieces like this or have some larger pieces. I'll grab them from here and put them in and see how they look. All right, how does that look? I actually don't know. I think this would look better as like the table, which, oh my God, I forgot I have to remake that stupid dinky little table. Oh, I really don't want to do that. But hey, this is a start, all right? And I forgot to remove it from its group. All right, yeah, let's see how this looks in motion. Yep, sure as shit looks like I just placed it in. You know what? It looks like garbage. I'm gonna redo this. Alright, what if I do something that kind of looks like this? And then I can do this and have this behind. Oh, I fucked it so bad. Yeah, how's that look? Yeah, that looks like a structure. I mean, that's not saying much, but it looks like not bad. There we go. I'll add a brick texture to this as well. Ooh, what if I added like this sort of texture instead? That kind of works. It looks a little interesting. I might turn up the brightness to match that. No, okay. I'll change the way the colors are. That looks even worse. Now that's invisible. So this kind of controls how it looks. If I turn the brightness down, how will that look? Interesting. Is that what I want? I don't know. I'm kind of missing a bit on the block. Adds a good amount of texturing, but I don't know if that's right for it, and I forgot to remove the groups from this again. Alright, let's try it now. How does this look? Looks fine, I guess. I guess I'll keep it simpler for now because I do want to put stuff in the background. And you know what? Because these are both the same size, I'll have these both as chandeliers. Now I just gotta figure out how I'm supposed to do a chandelier design. I have no idea. Instead, I'm just gonna do what I did here over here and think of it later because that's just what I do apparently. Yeah, what if I do something like that and add kind of glow to round it off? It's been done before. It's a classic. Why not? All right, let's see how this works. I'll warp it up and warp it to the side so it's a little larger, nice and plump, yummy, yummy. Yeah, that rounds it off quite nicely actually. And then of course I'll do it to this side. And then I can fill the foreground in with topiaries and tables and chairs and things. All right, I'm gonna try and nut out the block design, like roughly, and then we'll see how I go from there. And I think I'll do it in time-lapse form. Ooh. Welcome to the time-lapse. This time-lapse, I put together all the block design to make it look nice and cool. The first thing I did, you'll see here, is that I added in this kind of hanging wooden structure using a lot of the pieces from the structure I just worked on previously. And my idea with this was that I wanted to have chains hanging it down from the ceiling and then it would kind of sway side to side. You'll see I fix up the chains a little later, but they look kind of odd now. The other thing I wanted to do was add like a pretty dynamic change between areas because it opens up quite a lot there. I thought the best way to go about it would be to have a similar design idea to what I had earlier where you kind of go through this like doorway. And I think it really does help set the feeling of entering the new area because it's a lot wider and a lot more open. And I'm going to do something similar with the portcullis probably in the next episode. I said I'd be doing that like a couple episodes ago and then I just never got around to it. So I guess it's waiting another week, I guess. But yeah, while I'm on it, don't forget I'll put the playlist up right now. I'll put the playlist up on the screen. So if you want to watch the rest of the episodes in this series, go and take a look at it now before I get into this. The next thing I worked on was the chandeliers that kind of hang down from the ground that I was talking hang down from the ceiling that I was talking about. I tried messing around with different chain designs. I thought initially this kind of checker design might work, but I ended up scrapping it. It didn't look right. It looks awful. And so I'll switch it out soon for some actual chains that I just kind of shrunk down and fit in place. You'll also see that to make it, I went for like a gothic design. I looked up different gothic chandeliers to try and get an idea for, you know, what it should look like. And I found this one design that I changed it a little bit, but I thought it looked really neat. And so I used it as kind of a basis for the designs here. And I tried to make sure that everything was like as 3D as possible by adding little strips of glow on either side to help round it out. Here I'm creating the little lights that go on the chandeliers that hang off it and have like the flames in them. I struggled quite a bit to get a color that would kind of contrast from behind, like in front of the chandelier itself. You'll see I also put these massive flames in it, but I eventually changed them out for candles, which looks so much nicer. And I think they turned out really nice. They're quite ornate. They've got that dark gothic feel that I guess the whole level isn't really that gothic because it's castle themed. It kind of leans into it a bit, and you'll notice all the castles kind of have a similar gothic design to them with the pointed roofs and whatnot. So I thought that would be the best way to go about it. You'll see here I'm adding in finally replace the chains for this area. And what I'm going to do with them is have them so that when you land on it, the whole platform swings from side to side. I think that'll look really nice. Well, I say that. I already implemented it, and I do think it looks really nice. But it took a lot of effort because you land on it at different times depending on when you click. So I thought I'd have to make it touch triggered, which it got so messy because if you have 2 touch triggers, then there's going to be a third point where it it was just a bit of a mess to try and get it organized, and I didn't do it right initially because you got to swing, you got to move the wood from side to side, and then you've also got to pivot the chains around the rungs. So big nightmare to get that together, but I think it ended up looking pretty alright. The last bit I did here was adding in block design for this area over here. I decided to go with a couple of archways because I've used archways in a couple of other designs previously in the level, and used a similar design with the kind of broken little rock pieces that I did at the start. And my idea is I might put something in the archways or something like that. The last thing I did was add in this chandelier, which is like a larger, more expanded version of the ones used earlier, because it's, you know, kind of a larger platform. And so I think this one turned out really nicely. I added in a couple of extra kind of torches as well to help make it, you know, stand out. And I think it looks really awesome. So I'm really happy with kind of everything I did here. And so that should be it for the time lapse. Hope you enjoyed it. Ooh, back to the live play. Alright, it is a new day, and I think I went a little overboard with what I made yesterday. I've added these chandeliers that move when you jump on them, and these swinging chain structures that I think look really cool. I left a couple areas blank because I'm still not quite sure what to do with them. Like this here, this kind of ramp up here. It needs a little something, it needs a little pizzazz, but I don't know what that pizzazz is. So with this kind of rough block design just kind of smashed out, I think I'm going to continue on with making some details, and then I'll finish up the episode. There's still a lot of things I want to do that I'll probably leave for the next episode, like adding in a mid-ground, because I need to add like columns and that sort of thing. But for now, I just got to make sure I get that deco done. So I'll go to a new, never before used layer, and I think I need to add stuff like maybe some tables and chairs, maybe some topiary, stuff like that. All right, how would I go about making a topiary pot? If I do something like this, right? Okay, something like that. Does that look like a pot? Alright, if I do something like that, that looks like a pot. Put it on some color like that, and then I can add like a little bit of wood coming out of it, and then add the leaves on top. I should probably also make this all T1 so it goes over the top, I reckon. You'll also notice I figured out how to make the warp buttons smaller, which makes life so much easier. I don't know why I didn't have them enabled before. Alright, I want this to have a little bit of depth, like an actual, you know, tree, bush thing. I get some glow, make it nice and light, and boom, it looks cylindrical, kind of. It's way too dark. There we go, that looks rounded. I might do a similar thing with the sides of the kind of pot it's in as well. There we go, that looks okay, I guess. Insert title here. Something like that, and then how am I gonna do the bushes themselves? Got so many new objects in here that I could probably... What the hell is this? Look at these paint splatters. I've never even seen these before. That's cool. What looks like a tree? I guess we could just use this. Do I have a green? Yeah, I have a green. What I could do is just have like a backing layer like that. That's our backing layer, and then I can just layer more ones over the top of it. Probably rotate them around and stuff. There we go. Does that look tree-like? Kinda. Objects are a little transparent, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I might grab the brightness of these and kind of change them a little bit. Where that'll add some nice texture. Yeah, that looks tree-like. So when you're walking through, damn, look, it's a little pot just standing all by itself. How lonely. I think we need to add something next to it, you know? It looks so alone, so unloved. If I do this here and then put this here, I could make like a bookshelf. Yes, I'm patting myself on the back for this one. If I grab the wood texture I've made up here, all right, I make a T1 that's above everything. And suddenly with a little imagination, this can be our book. I didn't realize there was already stuff on this layer. That's not good. We're sending its ass back to layer 14. And then what I can do is behind it, place a nice large thingy-maboboo. Oh wow, that's layered perfectly, isn't it? That shouldn't be a problem, really. Yeah, looks a little out of place, but it's fine. It'll do the trick. And now I can add these kind of lines, put them on T1 like the rest of everything, and then I can have different brightnesses, and they'll look like pages in a book with a little bit of imagination. There we go. And then I can just copy this over and then make it shorter, and then wow, that is a different book entirely. You got what I mean? Of course, you get what I mean. Like, damn, that's crazy. Look at that. And I can randomize some of these brightnesses again. And now if we do this, wow, there's a little bookshelf there. How cool. Although I actually don't like the bookshelf in that spot. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this over, and I think I'll put a bench there. I move this here. I can take the topiary and put another one after it. I should probably also just switch this up a little bit so it looks slightly different. If you've got all the same looking object, it looks a little strange. Yeah, now that they're all different, that looks a little bit better. And then I can continue with making these sort of books. Like we can have this one, like, I don't know, leaning on the chunky lad. I can always just change the brightness, you know, the outer ones. Suddenly, bookshelf. Like I could just like turn the brightness way up, and then yeah, I'll have like a pinky color. I don't even need to make these the different colors. Like I can just do this. There's a pink book. Oh yeah, look at that. Ta-da, books. And then I can have a couple ones here that are kind of really tall, and then stacked like that. There we go. Suddenly, bookshelf. I think that looks pretty rad. That's a nice little bit of detail. The other thing I forgot to mention is that these are kind of broken. So what I'm gonna have to do is add these pieces that have the same color. So what happens is you can't actually rotate any of these blocks here because they're solid. So what happens is when I actually play through it, it like swings and messes up. So what I'm gonna have to do is copy over everything and then just make these ones invisible, which it doesn't show in like the practice mode like this, but when you're actually playing it, those will look a lot nicer. Just trust me on it. All right, another thing I wanted to do was I was thinking probably right about here, I've got these archways that I've kind of made in here, and what I think would look cool is if there was a cellar door. I don't know if you've seen those like old tiny cellar doors, but they're pretty neat. And so what I'm gonna do is find this piece and push it up to here, and then this will be like D2, which I think is behind it. And then what will happen is move this one to the left like that. And I think that will look pretty gnarly. So the way we'll do it is add these pieces again, which I've used way too much. Have them slightly darker, and then I can just do something like this. Not sure if that quite shows off what I'm trying to do, but it'll have to do. And then they usually have like a little door handle thing. You all see the vision, right? Maybe it's a little large. I think these all need to be a little brighter. And I think another thing I need to do is add glow underneath the arch, kind of add a bit of darkness. There we go, it's a little subtle glow there. I'll grab this and then bring this to a new editor layer, and this will become the backing to this area. I push this down to like B3, and it needs to be a little darker to differentiate itself. I'll make these all darker. There we go. And I think that door's a little too bright. Yeah, it's starting to look better. Cool, that looks pretty decent. And then what I can do is take everything that we made here, give it 201, we'll start it here or something, and we want it to move over the course of 4. Is that too long? All right, let's quickly take a look at how that looks. Actually, that looks pretty decent. I'll even move a little too fast, actually. I accidentally pressed play in normal mode, so I guess we're seeing it in normal mode now. Oh yeah, that looks so much better. That looks awesome. What I'm gonna do is I can copy everything here and then do my classic trick of going here and then build helper, and then suddenly that fills out the other one. Oh, top of that's peeking out a little, but that's fine. But yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Yep, we got that, and then we got the other one moving across. That looks awesome. The only thing I've just noticed is that bloody these little arches are not layered correctly. Alright, now that should all look a bit better. I might work a little bit more on this later. I'm actually not sure how I should approach this. I was gonna make a chair. I think I'm gonna make a really lovely looking gothic park bench. Yeah, I think that's the word I was looking for, because they're quite intricate and detailed, but they really match the aesthetic. So what I'm gonna do is scale this, also not what I wanted to do. Scale this down, make it T1 so it goes over everything, and then have this will be like our steel kind of color. So I think what I'll do something like that. That'll be the armrest. Push this over. That's the length of our chair. This will be the wood. What I might do is have this as like a bright colored strip that kind of goes over it. And that adds a little bit of depth to it. Might brighten these up just a little bit as well. And then what I can do is to have these kind of rounded off. I can take, I don't know, this piece and have this, right, that did not work. If I have it like that, and then these will be top of the chair, or the bench, or whatever the hell you want to call it. There we go, and that's the backing to the chair. And then I can add some like cool little detail-y bits to it. Maybe using like these pieces, something like that. You get the park bench vibe I'm going for, right? Of course you guys do. You guys are smart because you subscribe to me, aren't you? Subscribe right now. I think that's a pretty fitting design. Does that look like a chair to anyone? Please tell me it does. Well, let's see how that looks in motion. You cannot see half of it. What is happening here? It's all on T1, right? That should go over the top of everything. Yeah, okay, that's better. Although it's just a little hard to see on the background. How am I supposed to make it stand out? I'm actually not sure of how to make it stand out any more than this. Maybe if I just make it brighter. Does that merge it in too much with the background? I think it does. Okay, what I can do is go like this and then choose color 40. Does that look any better? It kind of looks very low to the ground, I'm not gonna lie. If I do something like that, I think what I also might do is add a bit of glow over the top of all of the wood. Does that look more like wood? Let's hope so. Yeah, I think that looks better actually. You know what? While I'm on the topic of making glow, I'm just gonna do the exact same thing here. Oh, that looks a lot better. What I could even do is add a little bit of glow behind all of it. Like if I get a glow piece like this and just kind of scale it like that, and this will be nice and dark. It's kind of like it's not against the wall, but a little in front of it. I think that really helps out, makes it stand out just that little bit more. What I might do is now copy this over this side, pull this in so it kind of lines up. Does that work? Let's see how this looks. It looks a little weird having the pot that far in, so I think I'm gonna remove this, and then that's gonna be our little setup. I think I'm also going to add these blurs behind the shelf. Yeah, and it adds a little hint of depth, and that's exactly what detailing is all about. All right, we've added some preliminary detail and done a lot of the block design except for this. Leave some comments below on what you think this should be, this little ramp, because I think it's neat. It needs to have something unique. Also, let me know in the comments which flag design you really want, and I'll add them all in the next episode, I reckon, along with some mid-ground and stuff, and maybe a little bit more detailing. I've been recording for ages now, and I think this is good enough for an episode, so you know what, we're cutting it here. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. I want to finish this level. I'm going to get this done. Before we go into the showcase, I just want to say once again that the song is copyrighted, so I'm going to be putting my own music over the top of it. Let me know what you like, leave a comment down below, and that'll be it from me today. See ya!